right. Well, since we have audio all fixed, hello, welcome to Snapping Podcast. Today I am joined by Mitchell Saltzman from IGN, also amazing fighter game player. And I got to see it firsthand when we did the Kind of Funny and IGN crossover. That was super cool, by the way. That was so cool to see you in your element.
Well, it's. I felt a little bad coming onto it because me and Blessing had played a lot of Street Fighter before, and I think we both knew how that was going to turn out. And it was just kind of like, all right, let's do the song and dance, I guess.
Yeah, okay. To be fair, I think you were the first. You were one of the ones who was able to like hold your ground because they definitely chose games that they were more comfortable with.
They definitely. I even talked to them like about it. I'm like, so how did these games get chosen? And they're like, oh yeah, this is kind of like our usual like run of the mill party games that we always play when we do one of these things. So I'm like, oh cool, because like I can guarantee you that almost all of us have not played these games. If we had, maybe not within the last like 2 years.
Yeah, it was definitely like Nidhogg was really fun, but I had never played it before, and that amount of chaos in like trying to learn it in like 5 minutes, I was just like, oh my god, this is a lot. It was very fun though, so I was like, all right, it's fine.
I will peel back the curtain a little bit here though, because just the way I am, I don't like to go into any situation unprepared. So I definitely downloaded
Did
Overcooked,
you?
Nidhogg,
Oh my.
WWE, and at least like went through each of them for like 30-40 minutes just to like get myself grounded. I hate going on live television, live internet stuff, whatever, and not being prepared. It's a fear of mine, Stella. As someone who's
Okay.
done live stream production like professionally, it's like my nightmare.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I guess I should have done it. Now I feel like I was slacking, but I was just like, you know what? I'm busy. Whatever happens, we'll play into it. But no,
Yeah.
that's very smart. I think the way you did it is probably the way I should have done it as well, but whatever. It's fine. We did it.
Yeah.
We raised money for the kids.
It was
That's what
for
we
a
were
good
focused on.
cause. It was
Yeah.
a ton of fun. Yeah, I really do genuinely hope we get to do it again. And I hope we get for like
Yeah.
other crossover opportunities. We should do it with like GameSpot. We should do it with Easy Allies. Like I think those kind of things are easy wins for all communities involved.
You just want to smash. You just want to be able to just
I just want to prove my dominance in the
exactly.
industry as the greatest fighting game, Smash Brothers player.
Yep.
You name it, I want to be on top.
I
That's
get it.
all it's all about. Forget the kids. Forget. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you heard it here first. Mitchell said, "Fuck them kids," and he's a father too now.
Hold on a second. There was no harsh language there.
Okay, fine, whatever. I do want to check real quick. Is your mic set to the right one? Because it is a little bit echoey.
Let's see.
Okay. I
It
just
might
want to
not
double
be.
check. Okay. Mitchell with the foul mouth. Yeah, exactly. You heard it from Mitchell's mouth specifically, right, chat?
Watch this magic. I'm about to sound much better.
Hello, test 1 2 1 2 1
Jesus!
2.
Whoa! Is that the same Mitchell? Whoa!
I'm sorry about that. It was not set to the right mic.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Salmon, for bringing that. I think he was on webcam mic. Yeah. The thing is, it didn't sound awful. It sounded like it was a headset mic, but and it definitely sounded like someone calling. It sounded like a call-in.
Oh my god, Salmon, is that the mic that I used for that was on streaming last time? Oh man, that sucks. All right, I gotta remember to make sure I'm on the right mic.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is way better. All right, so yeah, okay. Well, this is Mitchell on his new and improved mic. So I'm sorry for the first 8 minutes. It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, for a room mic, it's really not bad. So yeah. Okay, so Mitchell, I know we've worked on the same team, but I feel like we've been so sequestered to our own corners of what we do, right? I'm on FPS stuff,
Yeah.
you're on fighter game stuff. So I feel like we barely, except for like one Spider-Man video, like we briefly touched points on the Spider-Man video. So can you tell people what you do at IGN, and especially with the new, like, you know, we're helping out on guides more now. So can you go into depth on what you do at IGN?
Yeah, sure. So what I do has now subtly changed, because just last week we both got new kind of job assignments, or like more defined roles at our job. But I would say largely I'm a editorial producer at IGN. Mostly I'm responsible for gameplay capture. So like first minutes, any kind of straight gameplay, no commentary video that goes up on IGN typically goes through the gameplay team, which was me, Stella, and Ronnie. And so yeah, so that was kind of like my main responsibility. Now I'm more on the guides team, so now it's more of a guides focus. So it's like, how to be good at Spider-Man 2. Things you might have missed, things you didn't know. Those kinds of like guide focused features are largely what we touch. And then, just kind of in that off time, because there is some downtime when the games aren't, flooding through the GameStops and everything. In my downtime, I like to do video reviews, or just reviews for a lot of games. Yeah. I've done a review for Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6. I don't know, a bunch of games this year, but not as many as I did in 2020. I feel like 2020 I kind of like went crazy. And I've kind of taken a step down for a little bit, because fatherhood takes a lot of time out of your day.
I can't imagine. Okay, so I guess that perfectly leads into, so how did you manage, accepting fatherhood and then also working a full-time job and then also training for Evo? Because I think you did, I remember you did a series of vlogs or like videos with IGN, like training to Evo as well. So how was that, just balancing all of that?
I think it's important to note that while I was training for Evo and I was training to do my best, like I didn't go into Evo expecting to like make top 8 in any of the games that I would participate in. It's about really like satisfying your own personal goals. I wanted to get out of pools. I didn't quite make it, but I got really, really close. And yeah, it wasn't that much of a time commitment. I was able to kind of give it like maybe an hour or two every day.
Okay.
So like when the baby goes to sleep, I would go online, or I would watch some replays, or go through whatever notes I got from my fighting game coach that I got for that video. So yeah, it wasn't that much of a time crunch. Fortunately, doing reviews is a lot tougher.
Yeah.
And in those cases, it's more of like relying on my wife to be like, hey, I'm gonna have to work some late nights. Are you okay with like watching him a little longer than normal? Than it would be normal. And I haven't. I'm not gonna say I have the best wife in the world, because I haven't met all wives, but she's at least top 5, top 10.
Oh, she did break the top 10 though?
She
Okay.
did break the top 10 for sure.
Awesome.
I can guarantee you she's in the top 10.
Oh my God, that's adorable. Okay, so wait, how did you guys meet? I think I asked this, but for listeners, I'm very curious.
We met through a mutual friend in college. She didn't go to the same college at me at the time, the same college as me at the time, but she was friends with someone who I knew through my anime club. And that friend had like a finals are done celebration kind of party at this restaurant, and she was there. It was kind of her first introduction to our little circle of friends, and we just hit it off. She gave me a hug the first time I met her, and you know what? It turned something on. Like, oh, okay. That usually doesn't happen.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and we both were we both kind of had the same first impression of each other. So
Oh my God. That's so rare. It always feels like someone is more into the other person at first and then, they explore it. But that's awesome. Also,
no,
nerds, you liking
yeah,
anime?
right.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know what? Anime was transformative for my life. It led to some of the best connections I ever made. And it kind of it saved college for me. Because like I came into college not knowing anyone, and feeling very, very lonely and out of my element, because all throughout my life before college I had a very, very close knit of friends that were my friends forever. My best friend has been my best friend since I was 2 years old. And we grew up all throughout, and we kind of like stayed in the same friend circles. And then I didn't have that anymore, so like having to make my own friends in this unfamiliar situation was very, very hard. And then I found Anime Club, and it kind of it made things much better for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do remember it being so. I lived in Korea for like 2 years before I went to college, right? So the junior and senior year, I was in Korea at a military-based school. So luckily, it wasn't like a Korean school. But I do remember coming back, and like most of my friends had either left the state to go to different colleges, or it was just like a handful of people at different colleges in this in the state that I went back to. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like, how do you make friends outside of high school? Because like you're not in the same class as most people. It's very difficult. And I'm glad your anime club was successful, because ours was definitely very weird. The first
Oh,
anime
oh,
they oh
let me just be clear. There's a lot of weirdos in Anime Club. Some of the weirdest people I've ever met. But also some of the most genuinely, good and fun people to be around.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So my first introduction to our anime club at our college was like, we're gonna watch Berserk. And I was no explanation, no nothing, jumped in like midway through the series, and it's like the
boy.
old one too. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. What is happening? Why is this so gory? And I was like, I don't like this. And I never went back because I was like, well, I wanted to watch some updated stuff because, like, I didn't have access to the latest animes coming out. This was before, like, Crunchyroll and before Netflix had accepted
Yeah.
anime into their rep. So I was just like, how the fuck can I watch this? And I was like, okay, Anime Club. And I was like, I don't like this. So I'm gonna leave. Yeah.
That's
so
too
definitely,
bad.
I know. So it definitely sucked, but it's one of those things of like, yeah, you gotta find your little circle, and I'm glad you found yours with Anime Club. And I mean,
Yeah.
I would say it definitely did a lot for you because you met your wife through it,
Yeah.
even though you guys went to different schools.
Yeah, and well, she eventually transferred to our school.
Oh, for you?
Yeah, not for me, not
Oh,
no. It was already in the works. She
Mm.
wanted to. She also wanted to kind of be in a situation where she had friends.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's
she
awesome.
she actually left. She left UCLA to go to where I went, which is Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, wow.
Just one of
Okay.
those things where it doesn't matter a lot of the times about the prestige of the school.
Yeah.
It also has to do with like how you do socially with with what you've got. And if you're not happy socially and it's making your life not very good, then it's on you to kind of find a way to improve that situation. She did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to ask, what did you graduate with, and do you use that degree in IGN?
So I graduated with a bachelor's in communication,
Oh, okay. So,
with an emphasis on journalism. So yeah, so
oh,
it's something that I kind of wrestle with, because did I need my degree to get the jobs that I ended up getting,
mhm.
that led to me going to IGN? Probably not. But I came out of my shell a little bit in college, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where there's more to a college education than just the education. There's the social aspect of it. There's you know it's living on your own, for the first time if you go to the dorms, or if you go to whatever on campus housing. So I feel like I learned to become an adult in college. And you know, I also kind of got a lot of experience doing video game stuff because of the fact that it was what I did to pay for my rent, pay for, you know, my meals and everything. It was absolutely garbage pay. But fortunately, you know, on-campus housing is much cheaper, or it was much
Yeah.
cheaper than, you know, actually having, you know, an apartment or whatever. Um so yeah, so I wrestle with the idea of like, was college worth it? God, it was so expensive, but also, God, it led to all these cool opportunities. Um, so I think college is one of those things where it goes either way. Like I don't have like a firm stance of like you should go to college, get a degree, you know, you'll get a better job. It's more complicated than that. There's a lot of other things that you can get from college too.
Yeah, no, I think it's just interesting that you actually did go to school for communications and journalism, and you are actively in that field, which is great. A lot of people kind
Yeah.
of, they're just like, oh, I went to school for this, and I don't even do that anymore,
Yeah.
which is great. Like, I have one of my streamer friends who she was going to school to be a doctor, and then she kind of trailed off, like, diverted because she was like, oh, I love streaming. So, it's so funny how life works out that way. But yeah, I agree. College was when I first started living on my own, and where I found out I did not have to get groceries like my family did, because one person can't eat four people's worth of food. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, my potatoes would grow sprouts all the time. Yeah, that's definitely where I learned, oh, food goes bad when you don't have enough people to eat it. Got it.
Oh,
Buy
yeah.
less.
Maybe don't have a fully stocked fridge at all times.
Yeah, I actually, okay, this is super embarrassing, but this is just how little I knew about cooking. And like, I didn't drink coffee when I was growing up with my parents. So when I finally got to college, I was like, oh, I want coffee when I, stay up late. So I was like, I don't have a coffee machine, but I think if I get the instant coffee, I can just, dissolve it in water. I thought I got instant coffee. I poured the grounds into this pot of water that I was boiling. It was not. And I was like, well, I can't let this go to waste. So I tried to like pick the grounds out. It was a very sad, like, I was like, man, I am so glad no one else is here to witness it. It was
So you
so
didn't have-
embarrassing.
You didn't have like roommates or anything in college?
So no, I was supposed to go to Purdue, but then it was cheaper to go to the community college in Indiana, IUPUI, which is like a mix of Purdue and Indiana University. And it's downtown. So because it's a commuter college, my parents set me up with like a little apartment right off the campus. Because campus housing there was like not much because it was a commuter campus. So
Yeah.
so we just had like a little apartment off to the side, and I was like, this is fine. I can walk across, it's
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, no roommates, which I guess is kind of good because I found out that I'm pretty introverted, I guess. I think it would have been a lot trying to not interact with someone at home, because it's like one of those things of, if you go to, let's see, like if we go to Comic-Con, right, and we have to share a room with someone, it feels like you can't fully decompress with someone else there, right? Like it's not fully your space. So I'm kind of glad for the first like year of college, I was like, okay, no roommate. Whew. All right, I can like fail in peace. Thanks. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I no, just last thing on the roommates thing. It was I feel like I went through probably like 10 different roommates over the course of my college time.
oh
And I
wow.
feel very fortunate because even though like 10 different roommates feels like a lot, I don't have any like weird kind of roommate stories to tell people about. I feel like
Oh.
almost regret about it because I'm like, man, maybe my college experience was really boring because I don't have any like funny roommate stories. Everyone was
Maybe
just super chill.
maybe you were the funny roommate.
Maybe I probably, you know what, I probably was because I have some weird eating habits.
Like what? Okay, now I have to know.
I mean, for the longest time, I would not have spaghetti with sauce. It would be spaghetti with just like butter and salt.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
mean, that's okay. That's like a typical
Ye-
college meal. Yeah, okay.
yeah, but like just like I would have it multiple days throughout the week. It would just be like
Oh,
spaghetti, no sauce, just butter, and like frozen chicken that I would just heat up.
Okay. Okay, that's not like absurd though. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
listen.
not absurd. All right.
Yeah. Like okay, so having grown up with spaghetti with sauce, I grew to like this is with pizza too. I'm like, red sauce is so overrated. I have had it my entire life. Let me branch out. And when I found out about Alfredo, I was like, oh my God, game changer. And also buttered pasta. I was like, why did I never think of this before? It's so good. And then also, let's see. Oh yeah, so now with pizza, I'm just like, anytime there's like a white sauce on pizza, I'm like, absolutely, I want that because I'm like, you know what, red sauce is good. It's a classic, but I've had it my entire life. Let me try something different.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I like buttered pasta. It's a solid meal, especially when you pair it with chicken. I was like, if you were just eating the buttered pasta, I would have been a little bit concerned, but you actually have protein, so yeah.
I might sometimes have just had buttered pasta.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
sure.
all right.
but-
I'm trying to root for you, man.
You know what? You're right. I should have just kept my mouth shut.
I'm trying. Okay, that's the only weird eating habit you
I probably have. I almost certainly have more.
had? Okay.
If we ever go to group restaurant nights or whatever, I'm sure you'll see something that comes out.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that. So was it in college that you also got really into fighting games, or was that kind of like a later thing?
It was. I've always been casually into fighting games. I would go. The way I would always say it is that when you go to an arcade, and you only have like $2, fighting games will get you pretty far because as long as you don't lose, you're on that machine until you lose. So there's like a incentive to be good at when you're a child and going to arcades at fighting games because you want to be able to
Yeah.
make your limited amount of money go the furthest. So like I've always been casually into fighting games. I would say when the moment that I went a little bit beyond that was actually for work. I worked at a place called Gamefront, and Mortal Kombat 9 came out, and it was kind of like a similar kind of role to what I do now at IGN, where a game would come out and we'd have to brainstorm the ways that we could make videos that people would watch. And what I arrived at for MK9 was, I guess I can try to teach people how to do combos, even though I don't know how to do combos. And so I would do these combo guides for Gamefront, where I would basically scour like the internet, try to find what combos people are using, make sure that I can perform them myself, and then I would record them and try to present them in a way that was easy for people to understand. Because I think at the time, fighting games on YouTube were more about people showing off the combos, like just being like, look at this cool 20-hit combo that I can do, but they don't tell anyone how to actually do the combo. So what I thought would be like my in would be like, okay, I'm gonna not only show how the combo is done on screen, I'm gonna slow down the video so that it really registers. I'm gonna speak the combo aloud so that it's hitting both auditory and visual senses, and then I'm gonna repeat it. So I'll show it once in full speed, then I'll show it in slow speed. And it kind of worked. People really I wouldn't say it became like one of our most known things on Gamefront, but there's definitely people that have reached out to me after the fact that have been like, hey, your Mortal Kombat guides really helped me, or like the way you did Mortal Kombat guides have inspired the way I do guides. So yeah, that was kind of like the launching off point to get me into fighting games, and from there I just kind of tried out everything that came out basically.
That's awesome. Oh my God, that's so cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, you're right. I feel like a lot of gaming videos early on YouTube were definitely about showing off. People definitely gate kept things so they could they could be the coolest in whatever genre they were in, which was very interesting. And now it's all about showing off, being the first person to discover something and like post it, right? It's so different how the gaming industry and like just space has changed.
Yeah, and I feel like it's gotten much better in terms of fighting game content. Like there are people who do like dedicated guides that not only show you how to do a combo, but tell you like, here's how to do the setup that, might be able to, you might be able to land the combo more consistently. Or, this is how, you do a frame trap. All kinds of fighting game jargon. But yeah, and there also still is that element of, there are people that just show off on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's a much nicer blend of like, you got people that do tutorial content, there's people that just stream playing the game that are really good, and then there's people that just do the most outlandish, impractical combos that are just very impressive to look at.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So which fighting game did you go to Evo for this year?
This year I went for Guilty Gear Strive.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Do you like that game above like all the other fighting games?
I think, God, it's between it and Street Fighter 6.
Okay.
I am kind of a modern fighting game boy. I like the benefits that have come with the modern like evolution of fighting games, where you don't have super tight links in order to chain your combos together. The timing, I would say, is a lot more generous in games like Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 3. So I like the way that fighting games have evolved, and to me, Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear Strive kind of represent the pinnacle of that evolution. So yeah, yes, Guilty Gear Strive is probably my favorite fighting game.
Okay, cool.
But Street Fighter 6 is close.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6, I didn't realize how gorgeous that game was. And when we were at the Kind of Funny studio playing, I was like, I could just get into this just to keep seeing the different combos. People, even if they're used against me, I'm just like, it's so pretty. And I said this to Brian, but I love the aesthetic, literally bringing it to the streets. I love that so much. And like the spray paint graphics and everything. I'm like, yeah, no, this is what underground fighting would feel like in like New York City or some shit. This is awesome.
Yeah, it kind of harkens back to Street Fighter 3. I don't know if you played Street Fighter 3, but Street Fighter 3 very much had that similar vibe of like, kind of underground hip hop inspired, and this kind of felt like a return to it, and also kind of an evolution of it. But yeah, so you played Street Fighter 6. Was that your first time playing at Kind of Funny?
It was, yeah.
Oh man. Stella, if we ever go up against Kind of Funny again, you got to get that run back against Greg, and I'll tell you what to do.
I didn't realize that you weren't supposed to jump, which is why like whenever Blessing would jump, I did see you would always uppercut his crotch, and I'm just like, okay, so that's like a weak point, because I'm so used to other fighting games where like in order to dodge you should jump, but jumping in Street Fighter 6 is definitely a weak point, and I had no idea. And Jade was like, yeah, no, don't do that.
So here's the thing, and it's all about risk and reward. The thing about doing jumps is that it's a very, very powerful move, because if you jump in, you avoid whatever is on the ground, and you're able to do a jump in attack, which will lead to whatever you want, like in terms of like a ground combo. But that's balanced by the fact that there's plenty of time to react when someone is slowly moving through the air.
Yeah.
And if they have their anti-air game on point, then you're gonna eat some damage every time you try it.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't say Greg had his anti-air game.
He definitely did not. He definitely
did
not.
He had a spam button on point.
Yeah, which is why I would say, like, I wouldn't say don't jump. I would say, actually, if he's not anti-airing you, jump as much as you can.
Yeah, it's a
Keep
different
on jumping
technique.
in at him.
Yeah, it's a different technique against him, but then against like seasoned players, it's like, don't do that.
Oh yeah. If you were going up against Blessing, I would say probably to the ground for the most part, unless he's like he's slacking on his anti-airs.
It's so crazy though. Like, so here's the thing. I know that if I played more fighting games, I would probably understand the mechanics more and be able to see the intricate moves of like, oh, this person's jumping into there, I can follow up with an anti-air. But hearing all of this, I'm just like, my brain cannot process all of this. And I'm sure it's the same thing with like, shooters for some people.
Yeah.
Like, it moves so fast. How are you able to like, calculate the space around you in 3D environment? But I'm like, for some reason, it makes more sense than like facing off with someone in a 2D environment. And then don't even get me started on Tekken, where you can like roll over into like the 3D space, right? Like
Yeah.
that was really cool to see. But I was like, thank God I'm not playing this because I can't understand it at all.
Yeah, Tekken is crazy. Is there anything, because you're obviously really good at shooters, is there anything that you think like that is kind of something that you can take from shooter to shooter, like a thing that makes you
Oh, okay.
good at shooters, like a piece of knowledge
Hmm.
that you have about shooters that goes from game to game to game? And like
Ooh.
what do you think that would be? It's like a knowledge of, like, not immediately like running out past the corner, or
Yeah. Which, like, in Call of Duty, you kind of do. I'm just like, should I move strategically? And then I immediately get run up on, and I'm like, no, fuck it. Let's just. It's just all held. It's like letting like kindergartners out at recess, right? Like that's literally what each map of Call of Duty is. I would say that the one thing that I can definitely transfer over is probably grenade throws and flashbang throws.
Yeah.
Just because I played CS:GO a lot, right? So you have to be really good at knowing your angles, how to throw grenades so that they can like properly hit enemies. And I did notice it a lot in Modern Warfare 3 last night when I was playing, and I was like, oh, some of these grenade throws are really good. So I think I got really good at like angle playing, specifically with throwing stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, I would like pat myself a little bit on the back, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
So you got really good like arc distance management, like arcing
Yes.
trajectory distance management.
I think so, yeah. And like, because there are so many rooms where someone is posted up in a corner somewhere. So you like line yourself up, you throw the nade in there, and then as soon as you hit the stun marker, you're just like, go, go, go.
Go, go, go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Michael says reload even if you only fired one round. Okay, that is not something that applies to every shooter, because if you do that in CS:GO, you're definitely dead. If you do that in Valorant, you're definitely dead. Call of Duty is definitely its own. It's almost like an arcade shooter, right? You just kind of go in, you kind of rinse, repeat. But yeah, it's definitely, I would say grenade throws. Because like it's so interesting how different each shooter is. I guess, ADS aiming is kind of the same thing that can transfer over too, but like that, I don't know if is that a skill? Would you say that's a skill?
I would say knowing when to like do ADS and when to hip fire is probably a skill that, I don't like. If they're far away, I just go to an ADS. Like I don't know like the sweet spot of like when I should be doing ADS and when I should just be doing hip fire and trying to move back and forth to avoid getting shot.
Yeah. Oh, I think in terms of firing, I think also knowing when to just keep firing, because sometimes you'll stop early and you think that they're dead, but they're not, and they'll have like 1 HP and kill you, and you're just like, well, shit. So I think that too. How about you? What about like with fighting games? What is like the set of skills that you feel like you can bring that when you start a new fighting game, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm pretty decent already?
So I think it's really knowing what to look for, what makes a character good in a fighting game. And usually what I look for is I look for moves that are plus on block, which means that you do a move, they block it, and you get to act before they do. So you can, a lot of times I think what a lot of newer fighting game players don't know is when they can hit buttons. And so because they're just mashing buttons all the time. And if you're mashing buttons all the time, if I know you're just mashing buttons all the time, I'm gonna hit you with some moves that if you mash buttons, you're gonna die.
Okay, all right. Oh,
So I would say that's probably it. Knowing the moves that I can use, where if I use it, you can't press a button or you get hit.
Okay.
And also, knowing to look for anti-airs, knowing how to deal with certain easily counterable strategies that are also easy to execute.
Okay. Would you say blocking feels almost the same, like very similar in fighting games to you? Like holding back seems to be like the universal block?
Mortal Kombat is the only 2D fighter that I know that has a dedicated block button that you have to hold down in order to block. So that's actually a huge difference between it and Street Fighter. It's also one of the reasons why it's very hard to go from playing Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat. But other than that, most other games kind of have the same rules where you have to hold back to block. If you're blocking low, you can get hit by overheads. If you're blocking high, you can get hit by lows.
Okay.
Every jumping attack is an overhead attack, etc., etc. So you have to block jumping attacks while standing. And then 3D fighters also kind of have their own rules. Sometimes they have a dedicated block button. Sometimes it's still hold back to block.
What was that one Dragon Ball?
Fighters?
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah.
It was one where it's 3D.
Oh,
It had
okay.
couch co-op. Fuck, I am blanking on the name. Hopefully someone in
There's
chat can help us out.
Budokai.
Yes!
There's Budokai Tenkaichi.
Yes, Tenkaichi. I remember I loved
Okay.
that. I love playing Android. God, the blonde hair, short hair.
18.
18. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love playing as her. I loved that 3D space so much. It felt
It's
like
fun. Yeah.
semi-open world, right? But you're just like, this is what a battle, like this is what a DBZ fighting game should feel like, because it feels like you're actually in the world as these characters. I loved that game so much. And
Yeah.
Fighter Z was Fighters. Is it Fighters or Fighter Z?
I would just say it's fighters.
Fighters, okay. I liked that a lot too, but I don't know, man. Like Budokai Tenkaichi, like that shit just it was so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tenkaichi I would say is an arena fighter. And I think it's
okay.
kind of one of the ones that kind of, I don't know if it like established that genre, but it certainly was a prominent game within that genre that other games kind of look to for inspiration.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of games that are like that now. There's like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games. There's the My Hero
Oh.
Academia game. Jujutsu Kaisen is coming out with a game that looks very similar.
I did not know that. Oh my god, I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
are you a Jujutsu fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh nice.
Woo! Okay, we're gonna have to play.
Yeah, it looks fun. I'm not caught up on the manga for Jujutsu, but I think I might be one episode behind right now where the anime is. But
I'm definitely
that's just
behind.
really good.
But
Yeah?
I'll catch up because right now we're watching Blue Eyed Samurai, and oh my god,
Oh,
that
cool.
show's so good. Have you started
I
it yet?
haven't seen it yet. No, I'm
It's
trying
really
to get
good.
through Pluto right now, but
Okay,
it's
fair.
on my list.
It's very good, I'll say. I was very surprised because at first I was like, I don't know, and then after like an episode, I was like, oh, I want to click the next button. Yeah, it's so interesting, but it is very good. But yeah, no, the Jujutsu game, that'll be fun. I think. Ooh, I wonder how some of those ultimates are gonna work, because I mean, Gojo's so strong. How's that gonna work?
It's funny with a lot of those games, like you can go two ways with it. You can
Okay.
just try to make a balanced fighter and kind of normalize everyone's power and not be true to the anime, or you can just say screw it. Let's make Gojo feel like the most powerful being that you can play in this game, and we'll let if it gets a tournament scene, we'll let them be the ones to decide if he's banned or not.
Oh, okay. So what about oh my god, oh no, it just slipped my mind. I was thinking of overpowered. What did you think of oh my god, Saitama One Punch Man, the game that came? Did you play it?
I played a very little
Okay.
chunk of it. I thought it was a fun idea because the way it works is that if you choose Saitama as like your partner character or whatever, basically all you're doing is trying to buy time for Saitama to arrive to the fight. There's a little thing that will tell you how far away he is, and if he shows up, you win. There's nothing they can do to beat Saitama. You kill every enemy with one hit. So I thought that was a really clever way of being true to the source material, but also it made it for a really boring fighting game, because if you chose
Aw.
Saitama, all you had to do is just turtle, run away, and you win.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think it would have helped if they added some, like, you have to hit a certain number of combos or like certain number of hits before he shows up too?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely ways that they could have done that might have been better suited for gameplay purposes. But I kind of love the idea of it. Of like, we're just buying time. We gotta hold on. Like, even if you have like that much life left, as soon as Saitama arrives, it's game over for the other person.
Yeah, I do. I remember, I think it was Comic-Con this year. They were explaining like the mechanics, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's awesome!" Because I
Yeah.
was like, "How are they going to balance it if Saitama is the main character? There's no way that game's going to be fun." Kind of like RoboCop, right? It's like you see that game, and he just walks, and people die.
Yeah.
So I definitely think they got the delivery down, but like you said, it probably does get boring if you just keep
Yeah.
selecting Saitama.
And
Which
I
is
think
probably
I think there were other problems with it too. Like it
Oh,
didn't
okay.
run very well. The actual fighting mechanics weren't great. So
Aw.
yeah, there were other issues. That wasn't just the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess RoboCop kind of failed in a lot of aspects too. Like the main character's just too OP. Like you can't really die. It's like very
I,
hard to, I guess. So
it's funny. I've heard people really like that RoboCop game. I know it's not like it's definitely not going to be in the end of the year considerations.
yeah.
But I think a lot of people that I've talked to have been like kind of celebrating it as the return of like a double A kind of license
Oh.
game.
I've never heard
That's
the term double A. That's
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like maybe the 2000s and like 2010s where like that kind of game was like a big
Yeah.
thing where you'd have these slew of licensed movie games that weren't good by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of them weren't like terrible though, and they obviously had a lot of money put into them, so that's kind of where double A would come
Oh,
from.
I see. Okay. Oh, so is that like when they would put like little demos of games in cereal boxes for movies and stuff like that?
That's even further back.
Okay.
I don't remember them ever being in cereal boxes. Probably they definitely were in like magazines.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, maybe it's something else for cereal box. I do remember certain brands doing games for their food products in
Yeah.
yeah. But I can't remember what it was. But yeah, no, okay. I know people liked it because they're like, oh yeah, it's just RoboCop. I mean, yeah, of course you'd be this tanky. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I think I just like more of a challenge with my games. So probably just me
Yeah.
being, yeah. But I know
Did you? I
people
mean,
who,
have you watched RoboCop? Like, do you have any like affinity for that source movie?
no, because
No.
I don't like,
Don't be ashamed because I haven't seen. I didn't see RoboCop until like last year.
oh, did you? Okay. I can't, I think he's a little bit too creepy because I have the aversion to like robots and stuff. So like
Yeah.
him being a man, but also a robot, I think it would I saw like one like picture of him at like, with like the innards and I was like, nope, I'm good. Nope. So for me, I think like it's a little too much. Same with like Terminator.
Yeah.
Because I swear it's because my dad watched Terminator when I was a kid. And you know that scene
yeah.
where like he can move his like fingers because of the little mechanisms in his arm, you see it?
Yeah.
That shit tripped me up for a week. Like, I remember we'd be walking around the grocery store and I'd be obsessing about things. I'm like, what if I'm a robot and I don't know? Like, oh my God. I was a kid, dude. So that definitely like traumatized me. So ever since then, like robots and stuff, it has not sat well with me. So yeah.
Wild, man. That's actually a pretty advanced thought though for a child to have. What if I'm not
Yeah.
actually a human? What if I'm a robot and I don't know? What if I'm just made to look like a human?
I know. Yes, there is a term for it. Because I remember we were on a live show and one of the producer, it was Dan Parkhurst, one of our producers
Yeah.
at IGN. He like looked it up and he added it into his script. Oh, at Gamescom, because we were talking about RoboCop. Yeah, we had this exact conversation. Hold on. Fear of robots. Phobia. It is robophobia. What
I can't
about
believe you forgot
animatronics?
that.
Yeah, because it's animatronics specifically too. Oh, automatonophobia. I think that's the one that he mentioned.
That's
Yeah.
much more impressive.
Yeah, that one's a lot more impressive. Yeah. Oh, but specifically of thinking you are a robot. I don't know, but I just remember that like really messed me up. Even watching, I remember a couple of years ago, I think I've gotten better about it. I've been able to see some things with like robots and animatronics and be less creeped out. at least have a less physical reaction. Because I remember my ex was watching Westworld, was super into it. But
Yeah.
I was like, oh, who's that person? They're like, oh, well, that's not a person. That's a robot. That's an android. And I remember feeling physically nauseous knowing that even though that actor is not an actual robot or android, I remember feeling physically nauseous. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't, wow, okay, I can't do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's intense.
I know.
How do you feel about the Five Nights at Freddy's series? No. Oh, okay. I guess that says everything.
When the first game came out, my community knew about it, so they gifted it to me. So I had to play it.
Oh no.
I think because they were animals, it was a little less like people, like the android phobia, but like, oh my God, I got noise complaints because I was screaming so loud. It was pretty bad. Yeah. And then like, sitting in the room, the first one was fine, right? Because you could sit in your room, you could just like I just focused on the task more than anything else.
Yeah.
But then the other ones where you can actually like, there's way more to handle. My ADHD brain cannot handle that, first of all. And then the ones, I remember one where you're like a little kid, you're sitting in the room, you have to run to the door. But if you run to the door, your back is not protected. And I was like, nope. I also have this thing of when I get scared, I have to have my back against a wall. Like I feel more safe that way. So, in that game, when you can't, like in the first game, when you're sitting down, you're obviously to the wall's safe. Yeah, I'm weird. There's a lot of stuff.
Hey, I am terrible with scary games as well, so I know it. I know and live that life.
Did you do the How Scary Is that series that we had on IGN?
I've done it, I think, twice. I did one for. I feel like both the times I did it, like the game I was playing wasn't actually scary. What was it? I don't remember what game it is now.
Was it
but
the latest one? The Blair Witch? Was it that one?
No, I didn't do that one.
Okay.
That one would have gotten me. Shit, now it's gonna bother me. Whatever. I'm not gonna look it up, but I feel like I've done two of them, and
Okay.
I think one of them was a VR experience.
No, that would be way worse for me.
Yeah,
because you can't escape it.
Ah, man, the memory is not coming back. But the answer is yes. I have done them before.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Because I used to do scary games at Gamefront, and
no,
I hate it. I don't. I feel like it's a terrible situation because my reactions are genuine and they're what people want to see, and they give joy to other people seeing me scared. And I want to do things that as someone who creates content, I want to do things that people want to watch and that people enjoy. But also, I physically can't stand the feeling of being scared, of being jump scared. And I'm currently going through Alan Wake 2, which is just a series of back-to-back random-ass jump scares.
Is it really? No.
Oh God, yeah, it's the most. They have the most random jump scares in that game. You'll just be walking in a completely normal environment.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the screen will flash like it's one of those early 2000s jump scare mazes or whatever.
Man.
It'll just like flash a horrifying picture and a really loud noise, and then it'll be back to normal.
I hate that so much. I wish, dude, Alan Wake. There's the devs are so good at making the environment so scary that in the first game I couldn't go any further than like a couple of hours because the environment was so scary. I'm kind of sad that they went the jump scare route, but whatever. I mean, people seem to really like it, so.
Yeah, I feel like not enough people are talking about the Alan Wake 2 jump scares.
It's so funny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said we need a representative of our kind of feelings towards scary games to really champion this cause of like, hey, you know what? Actually, random jump scares aren't okay.
Yes, thank you. And it's really the noise that gets you, right? Like the flash image, you're like, okay, whatever. But like, it's the noise that gets you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Salmon says, all I know is that Mitchell does not handle scary games, as evident by his Alan Wake 2 gameplay. So he already knew.
I tweeted my reaction, I think like 2 days ago. Yeah, it's Sam Lake is on my list of people I don't like. I just have a
Oh,
list of game developers that I don't like, and Sam Lake just moves to the top. No, I'm just kidding. I love Sam Lake. I think Alan Wake 2 is a very special game. I just wish it didn't have random jump scares.
yeah. Salmon says they're for a reason in Alan Wake 2, but still, okay, they may be for a reason, but you know what? That reason's not good enough for us. So there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason yet, so until I get to it, they're on my shit list.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, so Outlast kind of had that sort of jump scare, but it wasn't like a flash image, right? It was just like suddenly
Right.
someone grabs you and then like loud noise, and you're like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Which you know what? I am so proud of myself. Outlast was the first horror game that I played through and the DLC fully, and I was very proud of
I
myself.
think me too, actually. I think that
Okay,
and
yeah.
I have a playthrough of it somewhere on YouTube.
I wonder why we could handle that versus like
I mean, I couldn't. I forced my way through it.
me too,
I,
but
I
like we still did it, right? But like we stuck with
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's again that commitment to content creation.
That's true. Yeah, I remember they chose me to do because they knew about my aversion to animatronics and stuff. Someone at IGN like chose me to do the VR Five Nights at Freddy's game, and it was my
Oh God.
first entry to VR, by the way.
Oh boy.
Um, so I was terrified. Because like you can't just throw off the thing, right? Because it's like attached to your head. So there's no like
Yeah.
closing your eyes because when you open them, you're still in that that was a time I was sweating. There's like a before and after picture, and it's just I'm like I was sweating so much. It was very the developer was like great, was so happy, but like it was so funny because the producer was like, "Hey, can you stop saying that you hate this game so much because the developer's right there?" And the developer's like, "No, this is great. Are you kidding me? This is literally why we make the game." So it's so funny.
That's
We
so
want to
funny.
like we put ourselves through this torture for the sake of entertainment, and then the
Yeah.
developers create a torture device for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah. It's all about eliciting that reaction. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, okay. So since I'm moving to LA, we definitely should do like, next year we should definitely do some like the what is it, Hollywood Horror Nights? The
Yeah.
because I wanted to do it this year, but I was like, oh, I should save money with moving, because they have the Last of Us theme set up. But we should definitely do that because I know for sure we're going to be targeted because we will definitely have the most reactions out of anyone.
Ah. I've done one of those kind of spooky walkthroughs
Yeah.
before. I did the Queen Mary.
You did?
Yeah.
That's so scary. I feel like that's so scary.
It it didn't feel that bad to me. It could have been the fact that, you're doing it with a group of friends.
Okay.
And also the costumes are not quite the
Oh.
level of like, A-list movie.
Yeah.
So, that kind of takes you out of it.
Okay.
I haven't done Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
I know Six Flags Fright Fest is kind of like a similar thing of like, the costumes aren't that great.
Okay.
And it's just a lot of people jumping out from bushes.
God damn it. Okay. Yeah. We'll just have to like just make sure I don't accidentally punch someone out of
Yeah,
reflex.
so I was gonna ask about that because you've gone through this journey over the last couple of years of getting much stronger. Does your physical strength factor in at all to how scared you are of anything?
I'm
No.
I'm just a big bitch now. Like physically just a big bitch.
Because I guarantee you that the people who are like, paid to scare people at these things are gonna be more scared of you.
Okay,
Of,
great.
like,
So I just wear a muscle shirt, like just something that shows off, and then we'll just like we'll just scare them off that way.
Yeah, exactly. If I was there, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna let her pass. I'm gonna get the person that's right behind her.
Okay, so they'll target you. Perfect. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, do you remember the first time we met was at BlizzCon?
Yeah, the
And-
Diablo sacrifice.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, well, pretend to sacrifice Mitchell, and now I'm just
Yeah.
like, now I could just sacrifice him by lifting him up.
Oh man. It's so funny at the kind of funny thing. What I was trying to get them to add a thing to the wheel where like
Mhm.
Stella lifts up, person and spins them around for like,
Oh,
10
'cause-
seconds.
like, oh my god, like a pizza, like the pizza sign twirler guy, like just.
Yeah, or just fireman carry and just, turn around a whole bunch of times.
I do. Yes, I actually. Okay, so I want to learn how to do the like roll and fireman carry thing. Have you seen that where firemen will like if someone's laying on the ground, you grab their leg and you roll, like you kind of
Oh,
like
you
do
roll
this.
forward?
Yeah, and then you just pick them up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to learn to do that so bad, but I'm like, in what environment can I try to practice this in?
You know what I'm gonna say, Stella. It's about time for you to start your career in professional wrestling, because you can
Dude,
absolutely practice it there.
I would love that so much, honestly. So, okay, between you and me and, all the listeners, I was like, why can't we could totally do other stuff on the side. So why not like something more physical, like
Yeah, start up some professional wrestling training.
I could totally like amateur. I actually did look into that when I was living in LA the first time. So cuz I was like, what's something cuz so here's the thing. I briefly explored doing stunt woman training cuz I really loved parkour. I grew up doing gymnastics. So I was like, this seems like a natural path, right? And I was surprised at how many different places there are to learn, wrestling and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh, this is very cool. So maybe.
I think you should definitely take a class and just see how it feels.
I think that'd be fun. Yeah, I definitely think that'd be fun. Yeah. So yeah, we could do something like that. But we can also make fake wrestling personas and just present that to Kind of Funny and be like, hey, let's play the ladder match again.
Oh man, that was a good time. It was fun getting to play WWE with them. And yeah. It was. I what I like about Kind of Funny is that they really embrace the pro wrestling side of games journalism.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I personally like to see. I like to see places lean into their personalities and get crazy with it and take your personality and ramp it up to like an 11 or whatever. Which I think they do better than probably anyone out there.
Yeah, I think so. It's so funny because like a few times I've texted Greg and I'm like, hey, we're good, right? Like you knew I was joking, right? He's like, oh yeah, we're fine. Listen, like things can get kind of nasty, but it's great that everyone kind of understands. Like, yeah, no, it's part of. People eat this shit up, like Reddit's just like, oh, what did they mean by this? And you're like, oh, good, it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'll say is that everyone needs to watch more wrestling. Just be like, hey,
it's so fun.
This is clearly a wrestling character that Greg is doing right now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like a heel persona, and maybe you shouldn't take everything that he says as gospel.
God, oh my God, yeah, the people who are like, oh, he said that about PC gaming. I'm like, he's not serious. Come on, he's not serious. But it's so funny to see the people that he does kind of get, and I'm like, you know what? He's just really good at his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we should do wrestling. We should do. I know Amelia, our coworker in LA, she does wrestling watch parties. So we should definitely do like a watch party.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Oh yeah, she's invited me to a couple of them. I haven't been able to go. But yeah, she every time there's a major wrestling thing, she's usually inviting people over.
Awesome.
You should go to an event with. Have you ever been to a wrestling event?
I have. Yeah, I went to an AEW event and it was really cool.
Yeah.
So many what is it, pyrotechnics, like and I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. And like it's definitely super funny to see, like we because we got tickets through IGN, we were like in the like friends section, and it was so funny how rowdy some of their like the wrestlers' friends would get, like, yeah, that's my boy. It was really cute, and I was like, damn, this community is so open and kind. I was so surprised at how welcoming everyone was, and I was like, huh, wrestling's kind of awesome, dude.
Yeah, we should definitely either do watch parties or hey, they sometimes come around with opportunities to go to the shows, so definitely try to see one while you're out here.
Yeah, for sure. And we're both friends with Austin Creed and Colt Cabana. He also streams on Twitch and stuff, and so it's been really cool. Yeah. All these guys are so nice, dude. Like all these
Yeah.
wrestlers are super. They're also super nerdy too, which is like an added bonus. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. We have so much in common.
Yeah, that's definitely been a modern kind of, evolution of wrestling.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the old guard very much is not like that, it feels like.
Yeah. I think that's why I thought that wrestling was very like macho and like very like boys thing, but it's actually very inclusive, which was very
Mhm.
surprising. But yeah, the old guard, I got to meet some of them. I can't remember their names right now. Starts with a J. It was
Jeff Jarrett.
yes, just Jeff Jarrett. He was, oh my God, dude, his charisma, even though he's older, I'm just like, oh my, I guess you just never lose that. Like he had this air about him, and I got to tell him I, crushed a watermelon between my legs, and he just went.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, one of my life's proudest moments. He's just like, well, there you go. And I was like, yeah.
You should do a competition to see who can crush a watermelon fastest, you or Jeff Jarrett.
Oh my God. I don't know about that, man. I feel like they still got some muscle, dude. Like they were still pretty solid. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He still competes. Bless that guy's heart.
That's
He's
crazy.
he's in his 50s, I think. He's
Oh, okay.
been wrestling for as long as I've been watching.
Damn. Oh, and the Sergeant Slaughter was really cool too.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
got to meet them all at like Comic-Con, right?
I did. Yeah, they were all super nice. Sergeant Slaughter though, I was like, oh my God, that chin's real. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And his persona was great. It was really funny though, hearing them do an ad read for AT&T, and I was and their promoter voices. I was like, this is weird.
That's awesome.
But whatever pays the bills, right? But it was just funny. Go to AT&T and Xfinity. I was like, this feels wrong, but
Yeah.
let's get a picture together. Did you like WrestleMania? The WrestleQuest?
I didn't get to play it all that much. I played it at one of like the Summer of Gaming events. Before it came out, and it was still pretty early along. I had a good enough time with it, but nothing that really like screamed at me like you have to play this.
Okay.
And so it just didn't seem like something I had to play, and I've got so many other things to play right now, so
I
just
know.
didn't get around to it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's very cute. I think I really liked it. I loved the way they did like the animations, and I love the way they did the voice lines. And I love that they got all the wrestlers into it. And again, they're all nerds, so of course they're like, yeah, I want to be in a video game, which was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the old guard, they were just like, yeah, this is cool. Like, my grandson can play as me now. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. It's just one of those things of like, you get to see the generational line, and it's very cool. So happy for wrestling fans though.
Yeah. Wrestling fans are eating right now. They got some good things on their plate.
Yeah, I still want a rematch against Joey because I don't like the way they built my character in Kind of Funny's wrestling thing. So, yeah. My friend made me more agile because he knew about like my gymnastics background, and I'm like, that should be me. I should be doing top rope shit. Let me fly. Let me fly. Ugh. Well, Mitchell, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but this was really fun. Thanks for hopping back on.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored to have been part of 2 Stella Podcasts episodes.
Yeah, the 2 eras. This one I am solidly trying to keep going because people seem to like it. So yeah, the match was rigged. It was rigged. Thank you.
So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me with
Right?
Kind of Funny's history of collusion.
I know. Yeah,
History
and
of
the way that they
collusion,
chose-
of cheating, of sabotaging.
Exactly, and the way that they chose all the games that they were comfortable with.
Yeah.
Mm-mm,
How about
I
let
don't think
Team
so.
IGN throw a game in the lineup every
Right?
now and then?
Right? Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying.
Actually, technically they did because we got to add Smash Brothers and we destroyed them at Smash Brothers.
Okay, okay, yeah, we take that, but still. All right, well, Mitchell, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jurassic Rabbit, on Twitch at Jurassic Rabbit, and every now and then you can see me on IGN.com doing reviews, making guides. I got a 2-minute Omni-Man guide for Mortal Kombat
Ooh.
1 coming, hopefully on Monday if it passes the screening test.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it.
Cool. And real quick, can you explain why your name is Jurassic Rabbit?
It's not a very interesting story. When I
Oh.
was a kid, I was looking for a username. I just watched Jurassic Park 3 and just had the idea of like, hey, wouldn't it have been funny for them to have been running away from a giant prehistoric bunny? And
That's
the
cute.
name just kind of stuck.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I know the backstory behind that now. That would be very funny. But I feel like if they're running away from rabbits, the giant rabbits would definitely be causing like mini earthquakes every hop.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind
Hey,
of
you know what?
terrifying.
That actually kind of adds another element that would be a fun thing to watch.
Someone, please, who's good with editing, please do this. Please make a Jurassic Rabbit movie. Thank you. Like a short film, short clip. Thank you.
That would be my life's proudest moment.
Amazing. Like the evil bunny in Monty Python's Holy Grail. Yes, but giant.
Oh yeah. Yes, that but giant.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mitchell. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah. And keep on smashing in those fighting games. Diamond
I
player.
will.
Woo!
Let's go.
Let's go.